Hello, everyone. Welcome to today's info session. We're going to get started in just a few moments. Okay. Yeah. Hello, everyone. Thanks for joining us today. My name is Christopher Boldus. I'm an admissions counselor here at Stony Brook, and I'm here to present to you all today on the facts about early action. So, while there are additional options, we've narrowed down the most common options when applying. It is important that you look for the deadline options on each college website and for every school that you're applying to. So right now, I'm going to review what the difference is between early decision, early action, regular decision, and rolling admissions. Early decision is a restrictive application process. You only can apply to one school through early decision. Each application plan plan can be beneficial to the student and for what you do through college options carefully and have a clear preference on one institution. But since early decision specifically is binding, this can present some challenges for students and families who require more comprehensive financial aid award information before making a final choice. Early decision should only be your choice if you can and will attend that university. If you are accepted, since there's a commitment date, is usually immediately. You will also need to withdraw your application to other institutions if you are accepted through this route. Since early decision has the red X underneath it, Stony Brook does not have an early decision application plan. But what we do have at Stony Brook is early action. Early action has some great benefits to it, like hearing back from the school that you applied to before regular decision applicants hear back. And you'll also begin being reviewed for financial aid sooner, which can help the decision process when picking college or university. However, most early action plans are non-binding, like Stony Brook's. This means if you apply early action, you will have until May 1st to make your final commitment, which gives you several months to review your pros and cons, compare scholarship and financial aid offers, the overall cost, and potentially visit any of the universities or colleges you're applying to that you may have not gotten to yet. Note that some schools with binding early action do, do exist, but these are the exceptions, not the rule. At Stony Brook are not required to withdraw your application from other institutions, which can also take time and you can explore all your college options thoroughly. Since Stony Brook does have early action, and there are several benefits that we'll also discuss more in a few minutes about early action. Up next, what Stony Brook does also have is regular decision. This means you apply by the deadline, but preferably several weeks before the date, and receive a decision by the end of March. This is also a great option if you need more time to figure out where you want to apply. And some institutions wait to send out decisions after the deadline. Others may send decisions before the deadline. So applying early and sending in all your supporting material is important. Colleges and universities do not think less of any applicant who applies to the regular decision. We value all our applicants and take time thoroughly to review each applicant. And also, if anyone has any questions, feel free to put them in the Q&A box, and my coworker will be happy to answer them throughout this presentation. Up next, we have rolling admissions. For colleges that have rolling admissions, the applicant can expect a decision within a certain time frame, such as 2 weeks from when their application is complete, and admissions decisions at these institutions are typically made on an ongoing rolling basis. There's usually no deadline. Some colleges' applications with the rolling decision remain open through the week before the classes begin and still accept applications. It is a really strong option if you know that you're ready to apply and have done your research about the institution. Since this also has a red X, Stony Brook does not offer this option. So here's a summary of the decision models that I just discussed, and the green check marks indicate that Stony Brook University options are available to you. If you want to just take a moment to take a picture of this, I'll leave this slide up for a few more moments. So up next, I'm going to talk about why early action at Stony Brook. What's great about early action, specifically to Stony Brook, it's non-binding admissions, which means that you do not have to withdraw your application to other colleges and universities after being accepted to Stony Brook. If you complete your application through early action, you will receive an admissions decision from us by the end of January, giving you more time to compare your financial aid, awards, scholarships, and features and benefits as you make your final college choice. This can also give you more time if you need to tour any campuses as well, so this can really help be a benefit. You can also apply to additional colleges with early action since there is no limit to the number of schools you can apply to using early action or regular decision models. You will receive your decision by the end of January, potentially several months ahead of other applicants. This is a huge benefit because, again, the decision process involves so many things, determining if a school is an academic fit, an economic viability, social connections, and locations, among other. So this is giving you the opportunity to tour the campus, as well, more time to really explore your options. So this can be a great benefit applying early action. What's great about applying early action at Stony Brook, you get to receive priority consideration for our honors programs, which means that your application will be reviewed ahead of those applicants who apply through the regular decision admissions process, giving the honors team more time to complete their review. Applying early also demonstrates to our honors programs that we are a priority to you as well. You'll also receive priority consideration for selected academic programs in engineering, in the College of Engineering and Applied Sciences, and creative writing. This is important because many of our programs, especially in the College of Engineering and Applied Sciences, have limited space and are more on the competitive side. So applying early gives you an advantage because your application is reviewed first and reviewed first as well. Also, reviewing for scholarship and financial aid early allows you to compare your offers and make the best financial decision. You also have more time to go over and review each package from institutions that offer early action, especially at Stony Brook, which can also help relieve some stress in the decision-making process. And finally, if you're admitted, you'll have until May 1st to finalize your decision. So that way you're not feeling rushed in making a college choice. So it really gives you the peace of mind aspect, having ample amount of time to really figure out, sit down, really review everything that the college is offering and go over everything as well. So up next, I'm going to talk about why early decision at Stony Brook can be beneficial for students as well. What's great about regular decision, it gives you more time to complete your application. This gives you several additional months to complete your application and essay. If you require more time to explore colleges, if you want to visit campuses before you do apply and complete your application through regular decision is also a great option as well. And if you applied early decision at another school, and if you were not offered admissions to that school, you can still apply for regular decision. So that also is another benefit for regular decision as well. And what's also great is you can really take time to attend virtual presentations that a university has to offer, visit a campus tour to really see what the school academic life is like, really get to feel your fit on that campus, and review kind of the steps to apply and information about majors, what any internships that schools have to offer, features and benefits as well that make a university very unique. So these are very important benefits of why regular decision could benefit some applicants over early action. And while your application, yes, it does get reviewed later, we still make every effort to get to your decision to you well before the final notification date. This is another reason why it's important to check your start SBU portal frequently once you apply to Stony Brook to make sure that you aren't missing required supporting material. If you do end up applying regular decision, though, all admissions decisions will be released by March 31st. But if you do complete your application sooner, um, you might be able to get a decision sooner if you do apply regular decision. So that's why we highly encourage you to check your Start SBU portal frequently to make sure that any material that pop up that you might be required to submit does you are aware of that. So I'm going to take a few moments to review the deadlines specifically to Stony Brook and really dive into them. We'll start with early action. So you should submit your Common App, Coalition App, or SUNY application before November 1st. We take all three of them. As I mentioned before, this is not a due date, so plan to submit your application before the deadline, especially if you're going to be waiting for SUNY Free Application Week. Once SUNY announces those dates, we recommend that you do submit your application within the first few days. That way, all your materials do get sent to us and received prior to the November 1st deadline, because all supporting documents, essays, recommendations, and honors materials and your optional test scores are due that day as well. So we recommend that you do complete your application in about the middle of October. That way you can get all the material to us, because your application needs to be complete by the November 1st deadline. After you submit your application, within 5 business days after, you receive access to your Start SBU portal. The Start SBU portal allows you to manage your application, upload any additional documents like honors essays if you're interested in applying to our honors programs, and also where you'll first see your admissions decision as well. I recommend that you keep track of portals for colleges and universities you apply to, as well as each password or passcode associated with the portals in one document for a quick reference. And again, if you do want to apply on the November 1st, the day of the early action deadline, your application will not be complete and will not be reviewed for early action. It will be reviewed for the regular decision. As I mentioned before, all supporting documents for early action are required no later than November 1st. It is very important because it's up to your responsibility to request a letter of recommendation, also to notify your school or guidance counselor that you applied early action and you're requesting your official high school transcript to be sent. Your high school transcript must be official and must come directly from your school, so it's important that you notify them immediately so that they can send it to us and that they're aware you are applying to Stony Brook. By completing your application on time, as I mentioned before, you will receive a decision by the end of January for early action. As soon as your decision is posted, the financial aid office can begin processing your financial aid award if you applied for federal or state aid. So that can again help make your decision. You'll have more time to help make your decision on where you choose for an institution. And again, a benefit of non-binding early action is that you have until May 1st to make your college selection, and we hope that you would choose Stony Brook University. Right now, I'm going to go into the regular decision, important timelines and deadlines. If you do choose regular decision, you can apply up to January 15th. Again, preferably earlier, as all those materials do need to be in by January 15th. So it's best advised not to wait until the last day to apply to Stony Brook. So that way you can submit all your documents, letter of recommendations, and transcripts in time for that deadline. Same as early action, you'll receive your portal within 5 business days of applying to Stony Brook. That way you'll be able to see what material we received and are still waiting on, so you can check that and keep managing that as well. And again, your last chance to submit any documents to support your application is January 15th. And you cannot complete your application if you wait to apply on January 15th, because we will not receive all your documents on that day and your application will be considered incomplete. With a regular decision, you'll be granted a decision by March 31st. that's when you'll be guaranteed a decision, and that's when all final decisions will be released by. And you will then also have a commitment deadline of May 1st to become a Seawolf. So it does give you a little bit of time to decide on where you want to apply for college, but a benefit again with the early action is that way you'll able to review your financial aid package, really have time to sit down and really learn, really get to review everything potentially to our campus as well. So you really have more time to review everything. And again, I'm going to reiterate, it's very important that you do not wait until the actual application deadlines to apply to Stony Brook because all your documents, again, are due on the application deadline. So it's very important that you do submit, you have time to get all the supported materials in. Make sure you do notify your guidance counselor that you are applying to Stony Brook so that way they can submit all additional information that is needed, such as letter of recommendations and your official high school transcript that must come from your high school. So if you haven't been paying attention for the last 15 minutes or so, I would say take this moment, stop typing. If you're scrolling on TikTok, texting, turn your phones over, raise the volume on your computer, and listen to this slide. So let's take a moment to recognize a few things. The college application process does not require a significant amount of stress if you can stay organized. And if you know what you need from each college or university, it definitely really helps. A tip I have for those, if you're listening, is to review the steps to apply on Stony Brook's admission website, and for each college and university you are considering. Each institution will have something similar on their websites and tells you exactly what is required to complete your application, as well as deadline options. This is important so that way you really can stay on top of all these deadlines, what material is required, and be organized and really not be stressed during the process. The big misstep that some applicants make is not carefully reviewing the steps and missing something. Then it's challenging to know or understand what is missing or why the application is incomplete. Always review the steps to apply and the admissions website before starting the application. This ensures that you have time to ask questions if there's something you don't understand about the process. And it also allows you to fully know your responsibilities in the application and admissions process. So I highly recommend that each school you do apply to take a moment to really review each steps that each school has to apply and what necessary material is needed for those schools. Most schools will offer some sort of portal, like we do with the Start SBU portal at Stony Brook. That'll be specific to you, and all you have to do is log in and review the sections, and it'll tell you what is missing, what material we did receive, and exploring the portal will help you because it'll get it, you'll understand it better, and that way you'll know what material is missing, if anything. That's where you apply for any honors programs as well. So that's why it's very important that you review the portal and also review the steps to apply for any institution or university that you are applying to as well. And finally, find the time to read college emails, saving the ones that are relevant to you or that contain important information about logins and links that you will use again and again in the process, such as your Start SBU portal or any information that we're getting that's saying your application is incomplete, you're missing this material, because sometimes we may have the material, but we might have not downloaded yet. So if that's the case, we can fix that immediately. Email management or lack thereof is another misstep that can occur during the application and admissions process. And remember that it is your application and you make the final decision about where you attend. Right now, I'm just going to go over some frequently asked questions that we get when students do apply to Stony Brook. So how do I submit additional information? Once you submit your application, within 5 business days, as I mentioned prior, you will get your Start SBU portal login. It is your responsibility to request that you have your official transcript from your high school and a letter of recommendation sent to Stony Brook admissions from your school counselor or teacher. These items can be mailed or emailed, and you'll find the mailing address and email address on our Steps to Apply page. Again, that's why it's very important that you do review our Steps to Apply page so you know exactly what is needed and what we are requesting, and you can stay organized and on top of it, and that way the process does not feel overwhelmed. And if you have any supplemental items to submit or an honors essay, please use the Start SBU portal. Again, that's why we really encourage you not to wait until the final application deadline, as all materials are due by that due date. Another one is, what is the essay prompts and how and when do I submit my honors essays? For the essay prompts, you'll find the honors essay information on our Steps to Apply website under Step 3 for honors programs. Please review these carefully as these steps before you do apply. For the essay and statement requirement for our honors college, WISE, and university scholars applicants, you upload to the Start SBU portal one brief statement on why you believe you will be a good fit for your preferred honors programs. Applicants should keep their statement to approximately 250 words. If you're interested in our Scholars for Medicine or Scholars for Dental Medicine program, applicants and for this, additional essay is required, up to 650 words on what aspect about medicine or dental medicine intrigue you. Describe how these aspects influence your life. If you're interested in applying to our Simon STEM Scholars application, for this, there are 3 required essays, each 250 words. The first is describe your desire to pursue a career in STEM. The second is describe why you would like a PhD. And finally, the third, to explain why diversity is important in STEM. This is again why it's important that you do check your Start SBU portal frequently, as you can see what material we did receive especially when you were applying for these honors programs, so that way you can see that they are checked off and received, so you know that they will be reviewed when it is time for the honors applications to be reviewed. And again, it is important to not wait until the November 1st or for early action or January 15th to apply, because if you're interested in these honors programs, you will not have time to complete any of these additional essays that are needed. How and when do I submit my honors essays? So if you're applying through the Common App or the Coalition app, you will indicate your interest in your preferred honors program in the application or supplement. You'll only write one statement of your choice for the honors program, honors college, WISE, or university scholars. Now, if you're using the SUNY application, you submit your SUNY application, no supplement is required. But after you submit your application, you will gain access to your Start SBU portal, like I said, within 5 business days of submitting your application. And in your Start SBU portal, you indicate your interest for honors programs you would like to select to be considered for. You may select more than one honors program, but you must indicate your preference for your top choice in regards to an honors program. So you can apply to our honors college, WISE, or university scholars. You can apply all 3 of them, but you do need to select which preference you have for a top choice. Students will be able to upload supporting documents such as resumes, writing samples, or honors essays through their Start SBU portal. And so that's why it's important, especially if you're trying to meet the priority consideration for honors programs, you apply well before that November 1st deadline. That way you can submit your honors essays by that deadline. For some more questions, are we test optional? Yes, we are. What does test optional mean? Stony Brook is test optional for applicants. Admissions to Stony Brook is based on a holistic review of students' academic record, including the overall grade point average and strength of curriculum, as well as other academic and personal factors, such as co-curricular and community involvement, evidence of leadership, special talents, or interests. Should I submit an SAT? Should I submit my scores? That decision is entirely up to you. Test optional means that this decision whether you submit SAT or ACT scores with your application. If you believe your test scores add to a value of your application, then you can submit them. You can choose not to submit them if you would like to focus more scrutiny on your high school record and other supporting documents. Will submitting my scores give me a better chance? There's no system to game here, We want you to be present for the best possible version of your application for us. For some students, that does include submitting test scores. For other students, that may include not submitting a test score. You get to decide if you submit the score or not. Just to review one more time, that deadlines are not due dates. The deadline is your last opportunity you have to submit your application and still be considered for admissions. Again, try to submit your application and all supporting material well ahead of the deadline for your peace of mind and for allow admissions to match all of your documents for your applications. This year, we received over 64,000 applications for admissions, so there's thousands of applications to match with thousands of transcripts, letter of recommendations, and supporting information, which is why it's very important that you do not wait till the last day to apply for these deadlines, because you will not get your portal in time to complete them, as well as submitting material, because we want to make sure that you're able to see on your SBU portal if we did receive that information or not. So it's very important you also do keep checking that information, your portal, to see if we're missing anything and to follow. And it's your responsibility to follow up if we did not receive it, to give us a call, and we can certainly look into it. So that is going to be the end of today's presentation, the facts about early action at Stony Brook. I do appreciate you so much for joining us today. Please use the information on the screen to send us additional questions to check in with us, whether that's after you reviewed the steps to apply, and to make sure you really do understand everything, or to see if you missed something again. The email address is enroll@stonybrook.edu, or you can call us at 631-632-6868 Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. And one more tip for those who stuck around to the very end of this presentation is that we strongly recommend that the email address that you use on your application is something that you can access outside of school, and that you are frequently checking your spam or junk mail, because if we're trying to communicate with you, it's usually by email or text, and you're not going to get them. That is ultimately your responsibility, so be cognizant of the fact that we're probably emailing you if you haven't heard from us in a while, and it's probably because your emails either aren't getting through to you or being blocked by your school email address. So I'd recommend using a Gmail or another traditional email account that is highly recommended to use for your portal. Again, thank you, and I appreciate you all joining us today.